Depending on how you edit a narrative, you really can manipulate different points of views.
Strawberry Flavored Plastic is the feature debut of Colin Bemis, who had the absolute gall to tag me on Twitter in a challenge. He called it #Indie1for1, and basically, he would watch my movie, The Head, in exchange for me watching his movie. I like the idea. It's important for indie creators to stick together and promote each other's work, and so I'm happy to discuss his film as a means of getting the word out there. That said, I'm not going to hold back in my criticisms, and as such, this review represents my honest feelings towards the film. The premise of Strawberry Flavored Plastic is pretty simple. Noel Rose is a serial killer, and he is followed around by a pair of young filmmakers who wish to document his day-to-day activities and learn what makes him tick. Sound familiar? One of the filmmakers, Errol Morgan, contends with his wife's distaste towards the endeavor. She feels it could endanger their family, including their young son. Noel also has a family, and as the film unfolds, we witness how this sick serial killer must also contend with fatherhood. So, let's get the negatives out of the way first. Initially, I was a little put off by Aidan Bristow's approach to Noel. He has a very careful, articulated way of speaking his lines that feels over-enunciated and is frankly off-putting from an acting standpoint. It feels unnatural.
Frankly, I'm a bit embarrassed about what occurred last night.
No, don't be. Please.
As the film went along, I could never quite tell if it was intentional, but I did get used to it, and after a while it became a defining character trait that actually made Noel feel pretty special. Eventually, I realized that he was really just making the most out of some very overly developed dialogue. Aidan seems to have taken what he was given and, through his own intentions or through direction, or maybe both, used it to bolster the creepy, rehearsed tone that Noel gives off. What ended up happening was I actually really enjoyed the performance, and it wound up being the highlight of the film. Unfortunately, the same can't be said of Nicholas Erda's portrayal of Errol, who, while not terrible or anything, can't quite make the dialogue sound natural about 60% of the time.
Shut your trap, Ellis. You said you wanted to be here, and we'll all be thrilled that you recorded this when we see this little guy's face light up when he sees the cracklers.
He's a good, charismatic actor, but he's given just a bit too much heavy-handed dialogue to try and translate. Again, I'd be able to kind of set this aside, but it feels like every character, and therefore every actor, has this problem, and it becomes a little too much to handle. I think Colin would have been smart to ask the actors to improvise a little more with their dialogue, Noel aside. There are several moments, especially with some of these supporting characters, where the acting is a little too no-budget indie. If you're used to it or find it easy to look past, then it's really not that much of an issue, but bad acting mixed with scripted dialogue in this format is very, very hard to ignore. Again, it's not a deal breaker, and I think our main characters come out just fine, even with my criticism of Erda, but I can see how a lot of viewers might be put off.
How do you know it wasn't locked?
Because you didn't unlock it, idiot.
Oh, well, that's fair.
I do also kind of wish the film leaned more toward horror and less toward drama, since that could make up for many of my issues, but that's also a matter of taste rather than quality. Where SFP really shines is in the moments dominated by Noel, whether it's the opening wherein he's recording one of his video diaries and explaining his affinity for cars from the year he was born, or the truly creepy kill footage that he compiles for the filmmakers. Again, this might be me reading too much into things, but I love how much he plays it up for the camera. There are also plenty of little touches that help this one stand out from the pack. The camera dying in the middle of the interview, Errol and Ellis driving off when they see Noel killing some guy in a convenience store, conversations off-screen being relayed through title cards, Noel grabbing a soda and gleefully running from a murder.
Good seeing you!
And of course, Noel's many public outbursts that are equal parts cringy and horrifying and, if I'm being honest, just a little bit quotable.
You should have been shot into a sock!
There's also some really nice twists at the end that make the film feel like a complete package. The filmmakers could have taken the easy way out from a narrative standpoint, but instead they chose to do their best to stick the landing, and I think that's pretty admirable. Finally, the elephant in the room, the relationship between Strawberry Flavored Plastic and the 1992 French dark comedy Man Bites Dog, another mockumentary wherein a group of filmmakers follow around a serial killer, a premise that is really kind of a trope at this point. And while that premise is basically the same as Man Bites Dog, Strawberry Flavored Plastic does have its own take on the material. A lot of this has to do with how Bemis tackles fatherhood, most importantly Noel embracing his role as a parent. That's not a very natural path to take with this sort of film, and shows a lot more maturity than you'd expect with a straight-to-streaming horror flick. Man Bites Dog, while it also tackles family issues, also goes about things in a far more comedic manner. Obviously, this works for it, and it is the superior film, but Bemis bravely goes down a more serious, naturalistic path.
But it's more fun this way to get the hands-on experience.
Man Bites Dog is also far more gruesome, and by my recollection, takes more glee in its murder and mayhem. If that's what you're looking for, then by all means, check it out, it's a great film. However, if you want something a little different and admittedly a little messier in execution, then Strawberry Flavored Plastic might be for you. It looks good, offers several solid scenes of tension and horror, and once you get used to his enunciation, Aidan Bristow is a joy to watch as he tackles playing an emotional madman. Most importantly, it's a film with surprising amounts of depth and a lot to say about addiction and fatherhood. As a story, I want to give it a higher rating, but the issues with the dialogue and acting just bring it down a little too much. That said, I don't regret purchasing it, and I encourage you to do the same. It's available on Amazon Prime. Go get it. 3 stars.
Why don't you can the commentary and keep munching on your wop kipple?
Stop that. That's racist.
And hey, if you want to support even more indie cinema, my films Fatal Future and The Head are both on Amazon Prime, the former being totally free for Prime members, and the links are in the description of this video. Want to support me without buying my garbage? You can also find me on Patreon, where for $3 a month, I'll treat you like the fine piece of ass you are. I'm also on Twitter at Michael Keene, and always appreciate new followers. Don't forget to subscribe for more content and comment below with your thoughts on Strawberry Flavored Plastic or what you'd like to see me cover next. Until next time, go watch a movie.